Hey guys, what's up? It's the Merc here from Poolshed Games, and this is another episode of The Shipyard, where we talk about ships in dystopian wars and my thoughts on them, tactical uses for them, and what to expect if you see them on the table. This time around, I'm going to be talking about one of my new favorite models for my Covenant of Antarctica, and that is the Zeno Armored Cruiser. As I like to do, I wish these were painted. I talk about this in the latest dry dock video as to why they're not painted yet. This is the Zeno, and as you can see, that baby has a Particle Accelerator on it right there. Which, those of you that don't know, Particle Accelerators are fantastic. I just got these for Christmas, so, December 25th. I've been able to use them in one game so far, and it was against the Lich Lord's Kingdom of Britannia. And I did couple them with a time dilation orb, which was just fantastic, because these things teleporting is just the best. However, I'm going to talk about that at the end of the video, because right now I just want to talk about the nuts and bolts of the ships themselves. So these are our armored cruisers. They are the same point cost as the Fresnels, which means they are 90 points. They have a decent DR of 5, a crit rating of 6. They have an 8-inch move. They do have 6 hull points, which is nice. And unlike most of our ships, they have 5 assault points and elite crew. So if you get in there and mix it up with these guys, they can at least hold their own. And, as I found out, take some ships away from the opponent. Now, their weapons. These guys aren't pulling a lot of weight in range band 3, and they're not pulling anything at range band 4, really. They have good port and starboard broadsides, but range band 4 it's only 2 dice. Range band 3 it goes to 4 dice, range band 2 it's 8 dice, and range band 1 it's 10. So these are getting close and just, mix it up with the opponent a little bit, as the Lich Lord found out. Now, the reason I like these models is they have a Particle Accelerator on them, which I've talked about it before when I talked about the Dreadnought. Basically, the Particle Accelerator is, you lay a template down. It's an inch-wide template, and it goes from the tip of the model out to the end of whatever range band it shoots to. Anything under that template is hit. Gets the dice for that range band. It's fantastic. It's even better than it was in 1.0 and 1.1. The downside is it only hits on 5s and 6s, and it can only hit models in its height band, which, all in all, isn't that big of a deficit. Oh, and it's indiscriminate, so it ignores shield generators. Fantastic. Range band 1, any model that's hit by that little template will take a 9 dice hit, and at range band 2, anything hit by the template will take a 6 dice hit. So you can imagine lighting an enemy up with 3 of these is pretty great. And they do have surface mines, which are 4 dice, and they have high payload, which all Covenant of Antarctica mines do. So that's nice, because every hit counts as double. You don't get to re-roll them unless it is a 6, but every hit counts as if you had rolled a 6, so you get double on their mines. Really, really nice. The only model assigned rule they have is Inventive Scientist, just like every other model in our fleet, essentially, which lets you re-roll one of your generator dice, and it has a Shield 2 generator. Again, it's nice because you get in there and it protects you from, shots coming in, and with our fleet ability of Overload the Generators and Inventive Scientists, you do generally have a chance of getting 2 6s even if you don't roll 2 6s. So, let's talk a little bit about strategy with these bad boys. They come in a unit of 1 to 3. So, a full unit of 3 is 270 points. That's kind of a hefty chunk of points for 3 armored cruisers, but they're really good. They are speed 8, which they're not speed demons, but they're not super slow. The nice thing is they're in a faction that can really just alter their speed. What I found, you want to take a time dilation orb with these guys. I will talk about the time dilation orb in another video, but let's just say it brings a teleport generator to the table, and the teleport generator can let these guys go 24 inches in a turn. And depending on how you roll, they can still activate afterwards, which is fantastic. It's great. But if you don't take those, you're basically going to be rushing these at the enemy. They go really great with a dreadnought because then you can get kind of aggressive. You can drive up the field with them. Throw an Aristotle, the battleship, in to provide like a mid-range backbone, and you're getting a good punching force. You throw some destroyers in there. You got a good punch, good wedge to throw into the opponent. The broadsides make them nice because they can shoot things that are trying to get around them. The trick is knowing how to line up particle accelerator shots. And sometimes that can be tricky. But sometimes your opponent will just line them up for you. And that's always fantastic. If you have an opponent that likes to run their ships in a line, oh man, particle accelerators are fantastic. And don't be afraid to board with these guys. They have 5 assault points each and elite crew, which means they're going to be hitting on 3s. And they defend on 3s. So if you get in there and you've stripped a couple assault points off of a bigger ship and you've knocked its AA down, don't be afraid to launch the Marines. You'll be surprised. These cruisers can take enemy ships with boarding, and they can fight off boarders. Now, I wouldn't suggest going and trying to outboard Prussians unless you're picking your fight really well, because Prussians are made to do boarding. As Covenant of Antarctica players, we're not. However, you can do it. If you're across the board and you see your opponent, who might be playing Covenant of Antarctica, plop these models down. Here's what you should expect. They're going to come at you. They're not going to be slow. They're probably not going to be gentle. They're going to come right for your throat. Don't line your ships up. Don't cluster a lot because the particle accelerator can just tear through you. And it hits so many ships. So if you're facing these cruisers, just keep that in mind. Also keep in mind that while boarding will work, they're not pushovers like some of the other models in this. Like some of the other ships in this fleet. So engage at range would be my best suggestion, or getting close and avoid their front arc, because the particle accelerator has a fixed arc. It can't swing. So if you can avoid their front arc, get in there and outboard them. It's another way to take them out, which is something more like the Prussians and sometimes the Russians would do. As an Antarctican player, things to look out for with these guys, real heavy boarders. If your opponent is driving up real heavy boarders towards your Zenos, get out. Get out of there. Teleport away if you can, or just hard turn and try to get out of there, because you're not probably going to win a boarding match with a dedicated boarding unit. Another option, or another thing to look out for, is especially against armies like the Federated States of America, or the Ottomans, who play the long-range game really well. If you're not teleporting into their line to cause some havoc, be prepared to take a lot of damage getting to where you want to be. With that being said, the perfect accompaniment to these models is definitely the time dilation orb. And take the alpha, that it doesn't have any weapons, but it's the one with the teleport generator, because teleporting these monsters into the opponent's battle line works out. At least it worked out for me the first time I did it really, really well. I'll share a little story of the first time I used these, which was against the Kingdom of Britannia. And I had the mission card where I had to kill 50% of his fleet and all his mediums. So I teleported the 3 Zenos, and I teleported them to where they would be in range band 1, and they would, if they lined up right, I'd have 3 particle accelerator shots across 3 of the British cruisers. Needless to say, teleporting is a fickle thing, and it didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to. Two of them ended up pointing at the big dual-hauled fleet carrier. So needless to say, I let rip with the Particle Accelerators on that, and did like 2 crits, caught it on fire. It was pretty awesome. And one of them did get to lay the Particle Accelerator across the cruisers and did a good deal of damage. And the broadsides did quite a bit of damage too. One thing I learned, if you're against the British, the closer you are, sometimes the better it is, because they can't use their torpedoes in range band 1. But anyway, I had a lot of success with them just being really aggressive. And that was my plan with them going into the game, because a lot of people had told me they're a really aggressive unit. Get in there and mix it up with them. That's what I did. I was happy with the results. That's really all I have to say about the Zenos. I really like this model. I really like it as a model, and I really like it as a unit because I'm very, very partial to particle accelerators. If you guys get a chance, try it out in your fleet. I'm sure you will enjoy having it in your fleet if you play aggressively. I suppose you could hold it in the back and try to like hide it, and when the enemy got in close, you could use it as a counter punch. It's not something I've tried, but I mean, if you have, if you want, you could always try that. Hopefully, you guys like this video. Hopefully, if you're a Covenant of Antarctica player and you've been thinking about, do I want to get the Zeno Cruisers? This will give you a little insight as to how they work, what they do on the table. And hopefully, if you're up against the Covenant of Antarctica and they are using Zenos, this will give you an idea of what can I do to kind of, deal with them. Give us a like or leave a comment if you liked the video. Subscribe, share us with your friends. It helps us grow, helps us get out there. And we will see you next time on Poolshed Games.